Okay, everybody, so today I'm going to be teaching you how to make wine. Not just how to make wine, but how to make your own complete brewing set from scratch without having to pay somebody $100 to set you up with the brewing kit. This kit runs about $25, and let's see, you're going to need water. 4 gallons of 110 degree water. I'll show you how to do that in a bit. You're going to need 2 food service grade buckets. You can get them at Walmart for $5 a piece with lids. You can do it with 1, but I recommend 2. You can make your racking bucket and your brewing bucket the same bucket. Right now, I'm gonna need 1 bucket with lid. I'll show you how to do this. Okay, you're going to need sugar and yeast come later. Some 1/4-inch vinyl tubing. I got 10 feet of it because I wanted to get enough for racking for my water locks, for my siphon. You're going to need one of these 60 millimeter syringes, no needle. Yeah, 60 milliliters, it's a big one. A 1/4-inch tube fits right on that, and that is your siphon. A funnel for the sugar. A spigot for coolers. They sell them at Home Depot for like $3.50. And an empty bottle with a lid to make your water lock. Okay, so we're gonna start with making our racking bucket. And I'm going to drill a hole about 1 inch off the bottom, 7/8 inch hole for the spigot to go on. And you want some space on the bottom to prevent you from racking sediment into your bottles. So I'll start with that and I'll be right back. Okay, so as you can see here, I drilled my 7/8 inch hole in the side of my bucket, and you can see I put it right in the middle where the handle attaches, so that the spigot will always be facing forward. Now, I'm going to try and do this one-handed so that you can see it. On the spigot, there is a gasket, and that gasket has a groove in it, and that groove fits in to the thickness of the bucket. You want to install the gasket from the back. So the gasket seats into the groove there, or into the sides of the bucket seat into the groove. Then you install your racking spout. Take the nut, put it on the back, and tighten that down nice and tight. I'm gonna have to get a wrench and use both hands for that, but basically you got the idea there. And I'll get back to you in a second. Okay, the next thing we do is prepare our brew bucket, and the brew bucket actually only requires the lid be prepared. And for the brew bucket, we're going to add this small bottle. It's one of my concentrated syrup bottles that I used the syrup for flavoring the wine. You're going to want to drill 2 1/4-inch holes in the top here and 1 1/4-inch hole in the lid here. Or, yeah, in the lids of each. We're going to do that, and I will get right back to you. Okay, so this is our brew bucket lid. I have drilled a hole through the lid, and right about 1/8 of an inch of 1/4-inch tube pokes through the top of the hole. We don't want it to actually touch the liquid inside. We want it to vape off the gas. And then the hose goes up and into one of the holes on the top of the waterlock bottle. The other hole's for ventilation so that the CO2 gas can escape. And then it goes right down to the bottom of the bottle, and what'll happen is you'll fill up the bottle with enough water to cover the end of the hose plus 1 inch. So with me, I got the hose right down to the bottom, so I don't need that much water. And you want the gas to be able to bubble through and the water to keep anything else from sucking back into it. If you put too much water in, your bubbler is going to require more pressure to vent off the gas, and the less pressure you have in your brew bucket, the better. Okay, so I think that's the brewing setup. Let's show you how to make some wine. Hold on a second, I'll get right back to you. Okay, so I don't have hot water, so what I am doing is first I am heating a couple of cups of water and some sugar to about 110 degrees so that I can activate my yeast. For this process, you're going to need about a 10-pound bag of sugar, a thing of Fleischmann's, and a thing of Fleischmann's yeast, and about 4 gallons of water. I'm just using the regular Fleischmann's dry active bread yeast. Yeast plus sugar and water equal alcohol. So that's how you get alcohol. And what we're making is a sugar wine, which will have no flavor whatsoever when we're done, except for you'll be able to taste the alcohol in it. We're going to be making between 12 and 22 proof. We'll see how that comes out. Well, actually, once we get some other parts in the mail, we'll see how much alcohol we get from it. As it sits, we're not going to be able to tell how strong it is. Yeah, we'll fix that in the future. All right, so the water looks warm enough. Actually, it's a little too warm, so I'm going to pull that off the stove. Set it aside for a few minutes, and then I am going to boil about 1 gallon of water so that my brewing bucket is up to temperature when I pitch my yeast into it. So we're going to leave that to boil, and let's get back to mixing our sugar and water. Okay, now you would probably do this in your brew bucket with your racking bucket lid, but I can't really handle a bucket on my crutches with my ataxia. So I'm going to do this in a 5-gallon jug, We're going to be adding about 2 cups of sugar per gallon for a total of 10 cups of sugar. And I'll get back to you when I do that. Okay, so I've added my sugar to my water. As you can see here, it took about half of a 10-pound bag, so that's 5 pounds of sugar per, we'll call it a 5-gallon brew. It's probably going to be about 4 gallons, 4.5 gallons with the yeast and the sugar and everything. We don't want it to be the full 5 gallons because a full 5 gallons is going to come up to the top, the lid of the bucket, and we don't want that because it'll blow foam or head into our water lock. Okay, so now what you want to do is shake the crap out of your sugar and water mixture. This doesn't just mix in the sugar, it mixes in oxygen. And yeast eats oxygen, farts CO2, and shits out alcohol. Now, I can't handle shaking it up in a 5-gallon bucket, so that's why I put mine in the 5-gallon jug. But you would probably take your brew bucket, which doesn't have a hole for the spigot, and your racking bucket lid, which doesn't have a hole in it, and put your sugar solution into that. Put the lid on it really tight, make sure it's nice and tight, and then shake the crap out of it, aerating the crap out of it. Now, you want to aerate it with the sugar in it because the sugar solution will hold more oxygen than just water. So shaking the crap out of the water and then adding your sugar isn't going to hold as much oxygen. And the more oxygen you have, the higher your alcohol content will be. There's 3 reasons for yeast death, which causes the brewing process to stop. The first reason is it's out of food, which means there's no more sugar in the water. The second reason is it's out of air, which means it can't breathe. And well, there's actually more reasons, but the 3 reasons that you use to determine your alcohol content are the maximum amount of alcohol in it that so the yeast can no longer survive in the environment. And that's what alcohol content we're going for, or I'm going for, is yeast death by maximum alcohol content. Your yeast can also die to too low of a temperature, so you want to keep it about 72 degrees, 75 degrees at minimum, no more than 110 degrees at maximum. You want to keep it in a nice dark place. Light will kill it too. Let in some more fresh air, put the lid back on it, and then continue to aerate. And okay, and I'm gonna do this for a few more minutes and I'll get back to you when it's time to sanitize. Okay, when brewing alcohol, it's very important to make sure everything is bacteria free, so we sanitize. My sanitizing solution, it's not the same one everybody else uses, but my sanitizing solution is a tablespoon of bleach in about, I don't know, 32 ounces of water in a spray bottle. And you want to spray down everything. Okay, Okay, you want to spray down everything, all the surfaces. Make sure you cover all the surfaces with spray so that all the surfaces are sanitized. And yeah, just that tablespoon of bleach is enough to kill all the bacteria. And yeah, I can smell the bleach coming off of it. Anything that's gonna touch your wine, you want it to be sanitized. Alright, so yeah, everything's sprayed down, and then put everything face down on a clean, dry towel so that no bacteria gets on it, and wait for it to completely dry and the bleach smell to completely dissipate. You don't want the bleach to kill your yeast. So I'm gonna wait for everything to completely dry, and then we'll get back to that. Okay, so at this stage what we're doing now is we're rehydrating our yeast. That sugar water I heated up on the stove and got to around 110 degrees. It's now about 95 degrees. We've added 2 tablespoons of Fleischmann's active dry yeast, and we're just mixing it in with the sugar water and allowing it to rehydrate. You don't have to do this step. You can actually just pitch your yeast right in your bucket if your water is up temperature. But I prefer to make sure that my yeast is active and making alcohol. Okay, get back to you in a minute. Okay, so I've just added my hot water to my brew bucket, and I'm pouring in the sugar solution. You can see the color is a nice malty from the sugar. You can also use brown sugar for this. It adds a little bit of flavor to your finished product, but like I said, I'm going for without any kind of flavor whatsoever. So we'll do that. And going to, okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so you can see the yeast has a nice head on it, which means it's active, and we're just going to add that to our bucket here. And that is, let's see, okay, that's that. And then we put our lid on with our water lock. I've put some water in it to cover the hose already. And to be nice and secure. And when it starts bubbling, you know it's producing alcohol. And we'll come back in when it starts bubbling. Okay, so this is the alcohol starting to produce. Right now it's only doing it like it's starting to bubble every once in a while. But that's CO2 coming out of it. And when you get your CO2 coming out of it, don't waste that gas. If you have a grow closet or something, put your brew bucket in your grow closet, and that CO2 will make your plants thrive. Like if you're growing, let's say, microgreens in your closet, or if you got a greenhouse, put it in your greenhouse. Just wrap a I don't know, wrap a jacket around it to keep it dark, and yeah, save that gas. Anyway, I'll get back to you in about a week. The brew process usually stops in about 3 days, but you want to give it at least 3 days to settle and let the yeast completely become inactive and settle to the bottom so you can siphon off and rack. But I'll get back to you in a week with a racking video. Thanks for watching. Oh, be sure to hit that subscribe button to be updated on future videos. Hit the like button if you like the video. Again, I'm your homeless friend Kai, and I can always use donations to keep up with projects like this. I'll put a link to my PayPal email address in the description, and thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.